Okay.
Okay, it looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm here today with Circuit Trail Action Team members to bring you an update on actions that you did over 2021 and what's next. Next slide. So we'll just kick off with some introductions. Hi, I'm Patrick Monahan. I'm the regional organizer with the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia, and I'll hand it over to Anya.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Anya Soretsky. I'm the project manager with Rails to Trails Conservancy, and I'm also the lead for the Burlington Camden Action Team. And I'll pass it to Daniel.
Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Pascal. I'm the Mid-Atlantic manager for the East Coast Greenway Alliance, and I'm also an action team leader for Philadelphia and Delaware County. I'll pass it over to Sonia.
Hey everyone, Sonia, Director of Active Transportation at the Tri-State Transportation Campaign and also a part of the Mercer County Action Team.
Great. So here's our agenda for today. I'll begin with a region-wide update. Then we'll so I'll hand it over to Sonia, who will do the New Jersey update. Then Daniel will take us into Pennsylvania, and Anya will wrap it up with what's next and where we could use your help advocating for the circuit. So we'll take us right in. And just next slide, please. So back in November of 2020 into early 2021, we held the action team evening meetups that you may have been a part of or joined with in your county. The general purpose of this was to invite you to learn more about the Circuit Trails Action Team's priority project in each county. We held this through going through story maps, showing you the actual trail, what the plan is, and kind of just the general status of what was going on along each priority project and how far along we were and how you could help push for the development of that trail project. I'm going to drop a link to a blog post that actually had all those story maps and all those meetings recorded. So if you wanted to jump back in time and kind of see what was going on, it's a great place to start to figure out what's going on in your county throughout the greater Philadelphia region. And we can go to the next slide. So back in, I think it was April, we held the campaign to urge your member of Congress to prioritize the circuit trails. Specifically, there were specific trail projects within each county where we asked that you ask your representative to prioritize trails for community project funding or for transportation infrastructure funding. We had over 190 letters sent region-wide to kind of figure out how we could prioritize these projects with this available funds, these available federal funds. Later on in the year, that led to the campaign to ask county commissioners to know why the circuit trails needed your support. We had over 130 letters sent region-wide there. And we also tied this project into the Circuit Trails video campaign, which you may have been involved in as well. And that was just to kind of raise awareness and on the priority project and to continue the campaign to acquire or at least allocate some federal dollars towards some of the larger projects that are priority projects for the Circuit Trails Action Team. On the bottom, that was a collaboration with Rails to Trails Conservancy, just to continue to urge these important connections to the trails. We had over 135 engagements there. So just continually pushing and raising awareness to and advocacy for the circuit trails. So we can go to the next slide, please. This was an action we held I believe it was sometime in the summer. DVRPC had their draft of the DVRPC's Connections 2050 long range plan for the region. The Circuit Trails Coalition and the Bicycle Coalition put together these 8 recommendations you see on the left. Of those 8 recommendations, those that were implemented into the plan were number 3, committing to completing 500 miles by 2025 campaign, Circuit Trails campaign. Number 5, which is program the high quality bike network onto the tip. And number 6, supporting Vision Zero into concrete strategies and projects leading forward. So on the right there, it's a little more detail on what those policy changes were to the plan. We had over 200 people send letters to DVRPC, and just great response from the group who was writing the long range plan and implementing these important ideas to improve policy and really allow it so that we could reach our campaign goal of 500 miles by 2025. So we can go into the next slide. This was our Explore the Circuit, a recap of our Explore the Circuit rides that we held over 2021. This was a lot of fun. We had every ride had an action team member. Some of them had county planners, and we even had a few higher level people visit us or join us to show their support of the circuit trails as well. So just the trails we visited at that time was, from just reading from left to right, was Bucks, Burlington County, Gloucester County, Montgomery, Chester, and Mercer counties. We're in the process of already planning our new Explore the Circuit series this year, and I'll be sharing out links so that you can join us this year if you missed it last year. But yeah, these are a lot of fun. We bring people out to trails that were recently constructed, or they need your support or advocacy to be pushed. And we just try to go over, it's more like an educational experience as well as like a low stress ride. So yeah, looking forward to leading this 2022 series this year. Go to the next slide. Another campaign we held was the Circuit Trails video campaign. So we invited our action team members to join us along segments of the trails that need advocacy, or you just share your support. So we had testimonies. We recorded testimonies of action team members letting us know why the circuit trails are important to them and what they hope to see in the future. What you're seeing here are just some screenshots of, same thing left to right, Bucks County, Chester County, Montgomery County, and then on the bottom, Mercer County and Camden County, where we actually had a trail fun night combination with that. And that was a great turnout with like food and games. So something fun to do in the midst of being inside a little too often. And I think I have a link to the playlist. Whoops. That I'd like to drop in. So if you'd like to view the videos or share them with your county commissioner, that would be awesome. And then we'll head into the next slide. So here's a mileage update, region-wide mileage update. This is a recent update on the trail network by trail status. You're seeing trails throughout the region, but also up into Berks County, which we'll cover a little later on some trail openings there. Just scroll down for a second. So these trails, if you're not familiar with what they mean when it says in progress, pipeline, and planned, in progress is just trails that are currently being built or designed. If they're in the pipeline, this is a combination of DVRPC, local governments, nonprofit organizations who are actively working to move these trails forward by either conducting studies, acquiring rights of way, engaging local communities, and laying the groundwork to obtain funding for future designs and construction. Trails that are in the planning stage, they are trails that are being documented in local, county, and regional plans. They're also, when they're in studies, feasibility studies or plans that may have been prepared for the development of these trails, but maybe they require a sponsor to move them forward. And we can go to the next slide. So here's just a simple pie graph of the status, mileage status. So on the existing side, we have 362 miles that are complete as of 2021 into like right about now. The trails that are in progress, we have 78 miles. We've identified 37 of those miles as being fully funded, which is reaching us, which is allowing us to reach. We're basically on a good track for our 500 miles by 2025 campaign. In the pipeline, we have 119 miles. And then in the plan stage, you see 268 miles. So in total, this brings us to 827 miles with the long range plan of bringing the region 800 plus miles of circuit trails by to align with DVRPC's long range plan of 2050. So with that, I can take a pause if there's any questions. And okay, seems like there's no questions. So I'll hand it over to Sonia and we'll be popping back in and out with a few updates there.
Thanks, Patrick. Hey, everyone. I'm going to run through some updates on New Jersey actions and then also talk a little bit about trail openings we had last year. So around this time last year, you joined us in urging New Jersey budget leaders to support trails by increasing funding dedicated to active transportation. Excited to say that we recently learned that this year's grants and aid programs, such as Bikeways and Safe Streets to Transit, have actually increased by $16.5 million, which is a total of $18.3 million. This is huge because normally this is around 3 million for the whole state. So we're really excited to see this increase, and we hope to see this trend continue so that more trail projects can be advanced, especially in the circuit. Also last year, thanks to the collaboration of the coalition, other advocates across the state and state legislators, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and the New Jersey Department of Transportation co-hosted New Jersey's first ever Trails and Greenways Summit, something we hope to see become a regular event in the state. The event had 9 sessions over 2 days, and we heard from both departments' commissioners about their commitment to trails. We had 559 people register for this event. Even though it was the first one, it just shows how eager people are to see trails expand in the state. And you can watch the whole summit at this YouTube link, and you can learn more about future statewide trail efforts at that YouTube link as well. Some other actions we had. So Patrick had mentioned some DVRPC efforts. We also asked everyone in New Jersey to submit comments on the draft tip. You urged DVRPC to strengthen the New Jersey tip to accelerate the pace of circuit trail development and safe roadways. For those of you that don't know, the TIP is the Transportation Improvement Program, which is a regionally agreed upon list of priority projects over a 4-year period, and it's required by law. Some New Jersey trail projects currently on the TIP are the Dinosaur Trail, the Glassboro Elk Trail, and the Delaware and Raritan Greenway Connector. In addition to that action, which 85 of you joined us for, you also asked for improvements to Whitehead Road in Mercer County. 57 of you joined us in calling for the DOT to improve the DNR Canal crossing in this area. And this actually resulted in changes to the concept design for the project. So we're keeping tabs on that project, and we're excited to see it move forward and see a really important gap filled there. We also asked Governor Phil Murphy to use a portion of the $6.4 billion in American Rescue Plan funding to help complete the Circuit Trails network. That's 163 of you joined us in that. And I'll add links to tell you about those just in a moment. We also hosted some events with our action teams. Patrick had mentioned before, the Camden County Action Team hosted a Trail Fun Night which had around 50 people join to enjoy games, a food truck, prizes, along with a walk and bike ride. The community had a chance to learn more about the Burlington Camden Trail, and the event was joined by a number of organizations and entities in the area, such as the Health Department, the Environmental Commission, the library, and the consultants working on the project. And in Mercer County, we had a combination event of Ciclavia, which is an open streets event, and Art All Day. This closed multiple streets to cars and opened them to people. There was one street was closed that's actually along the circuit trails called the Wellness Loop, and another street was closed in East Trenton. The event had art tours around the city, as well as a bike ride visiting all the sites that use the circuit trails to get around. So here's some photos of them. You can see Trail Fun Night, and then we had some art being made on bicycles on the other event as well. So now I'll share some of our highlights from New Jersey's trail openings last year. I'll talk about 3 of them. You can see they're pretty dispersed throughout the New Jersey region. So the first one, the Kramer Hill Waterfront Park in Camden, opened last year with the official ribbon cutting ceremony at the end of November. It was a very cold day, but really exciting. This was a multi-million-dollar project that transformed the former Harrison Avenue landfill into a 62-acre waterfront park, making it the largest park in Camden. The park is host to the Circuit Trail, as well as other trails that help you explore the park. Really recommend it. I think there's going to be an Explore the Circuit ride there as well, so make sure you sign up. Another really exciting trail was the Route 130 bypass, which is also part of the Delaware River Heritage Trail. It extends from Bordentown to Roebling, and this section passes through Crystal Lake Park and the former Roebling steel mill site. And one really exciting piece of this trail is this 5.5-mile trail is host to a really unique and fully signalized riverline crossing. So you could go check that out. It's pretty cool. And the last update I have is the long-awaited 1,587-foot shared use path along Scudder Falls Bridge finally opened in November. This path directly connects 2 sides of the circuit. There's the DNL, the Delaware and Lehigh towpath on one side, to the Delaware and Raritan towpath on the other. And it really touches down directly there, gives you a safe crossing and multiple opportunities to do loops around the circuit. So now I will pass it to Daniel and Patrick to give you a Pennsylvania update.
Thanks, Sonia. So yeah, I'll start off on the first slide here with the Pennsylvania update on some in-person events we held in the PA side of things. So on the left, the breakfast in Chester County. This was a cool opportunity to get together. We invited the Chester County Planning Commission, TMAC, Transportation Management Agency of Chester County, and PennDOT, along with Friends of the Chester Valley Trail, to give us an update on projects that are going on along the circuit. The PennDOT Connects program, which is an awesome collaborative process with DVRPC and other partners to make safe connections and safe routes to the trails and other places. I have a nice blog post that I can share that has presentations and more details on what was covered at that event. The hope is to kind of bring this to other counties throughout the region, whether it's in person or digital, we'll see. But yeah, a cool event, and looking forward to doing something more like that later on this year, hopefully. Going over to the right was the Cobbs Creek Trail event. Bicycle Coalition and Circuit Trails, among other partners, Clean Air Council, all came together to kind of inform and talk about the circuit, as well as enjoy it. There was a lot of really fun activities like archery. There was a horse there. There was water ice radio station. It was really fun. I know Clean Air Council is looking to plan another event very similar along the creek. So keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, we're looking forward to bringing you guys something fun to do along the trails. Just a moment. So another action we did was the PennDOT long range transportation plan draft was shared. I think it was also around the same like late fall or early fall time period. We had asked that we had put together recommendations and we reached out to Circuit Trails Action Team members to send letters to PennDOT to strengthen their mobility goal by creating explicit policy that supports and encourages the design and development of communities that make walking and biking a viable enough experience to create significant modal shift. We asked that if they strengthen their resilience goal by identifying a source of revenue to increase Pennsylvania's transportation resilience to climate change. And we asked that they build upon the resilience goal by adopting and obtainable goals to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We had over 200 letters that were sent in support of this, and we received a confirmation from PennDOT, but I think awareness was raised, and it was an effort to improve over the period of time. So we'll see how that evolves over time. And then I'm going to hand it over to Daniel to talk a little more on the Spring Garden Street Greenway petition.
Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, so the Spring Garden Street Greenway, you can see on the right there. We had a petition actually with the Bicycle Coalition, Circuit Trails, and the action team had over 1,100 people sign in support of improving safety along the corridor, protection for bike lanes, having shorter crossings, improvements at intersections. There's a lot that needs to be improved along the corridor. So we had your voices loud and clear, which was really fantastic. There was also a city-run engagement process that had over 2,100 comments on a map online, indicating locations of a lot of those issues. So thanks to everyone's help, we are in the process of working with the city, advocating for filling the final funding gap for design of that project. Once that is filled, which hopefully we can have some good news soon, then we can start advocating for construction funding. This project is much more than just a bikeway and crossings. It also includes new signals along every major intersection, as well as improved transit connections, and then also connections on each end of the project. So you can see it's a vital corridor on the East Coast Greenway and the Circuit Trails and the whole bike network for Center City, Philadelphia. Next slide, please. All right, so I will take us through some of the trail openings last year. We had quite a few in Pennsylvania. You can see there are a lot here. There are some smaller ones, some larger ones. We're going to highlight a few of them, but you can see we've got some from all over, including two up in Montgomery County, the Liberty Bell Trail up in Lansdale, Cross County Trail near Dresher. We had a couple on the Schuylkill River Trail that we'll look at, as well as one in Northeast Philly along the Frankford Creek, and then even one down in the city of Chester. So I think that's the first one up. Oh, no. So this is actually in Northeast Philly. This was built as part of the I-95 reconstruction project. This is the Adams Avenue connector. You can see on the right there, it parallels the Frankford Creek Greenway. If you know the area at all, this is a very densely packed area just to the north along Torresdale Avenue. And this gives you an off-road connection. It's lovely, more green than you can imagine seeing in this area. You're right next to the interchange with I-95, but you're totally separate from traffic. Connects you down to Aramingo Avenue, where there's also a side path linking you all the way down to the Delaware River and the East Coast Greenway there. So next slide. This is another trail that opened early on in 2021, the Chester Creek Trail portion, a levee walk in the city of Chester along the creek there. This is great to see. There's connections that are being looked into now to extend this. This is just over a half a mile in Chester, but connecting it to Crozier Park, going sort of up the creek is underway. And then there's also planned connections to go over to Deschong Park and then eventually down Avenue of the States to get to the East Coast Greenway to connect to transit. So really exciting to see this ribbon cutting take place last year. Next slide. And then way up and on the Schuylkill River Trail, we had a new bridge opened. This was a beautiful bridge. You can see, avoids having to cross Route 724 down there. This is for biking and walking on Schuylkill River Trail. It's actually just outside of the sort of circuit trails region up in Berks County, but really amazing new gap being filled in just north just north of Pottstown on the Schuylkill River Trail. So I think we've got another view of it from overhead on the next slide. And yeah, you can see just kind of smooth transition, very subtle grade, so you're not going up switchbacks, you're not climbing anything steep, and you can just continuously continue riding or walking or running along there. It was named for a local orthopedic surgeon, Richard P. Whitaker. So it's just already beloved trail connection there. So improvements are happening up and down the corridor. So I think the next one we go the far other end of the Schuylkill River Trail. This is actually just south of Bartram's Garden, between 56th Street and it approaches 61st Street. If you go down to Bartram's Garden and there's a plaza at 56th Street, you can just keep walking your way south and there's incredible view of the city, brand new views of the skyline there on the waterfront. There's the overlook. There's also actually pictured in my background, a fishing pier platform. It's right here. And so lots of new sort of access and connectivity to the river. The goal is to continue the trail on down to Passyunk Avenue and the bridge there on its way all the way down to the mouth of the Delaware. And I think that's the last one we're highlighting. Okay. And bring into what's next. I think Anya is taking over.
Yes, I will discuss what is next. So if you can advance to the next slide, Celebrate Trails Day is coming up. So I would like to personally invite you to participate. It's going to be on April 23rd this year. So this is a national celebration of trails. It was started by Rails to Trails Conservancy back in 2013, and we get thousands of participants every year. So you can go on railstotrails.org/celebrate trails to find an event near you or find out ways to celebrate on your own or with family and friends. And if you sign up letting us know that you'll be participating, you can win prizes. So we'll definitely be having some events within the circuit. So check that out and stay tuned for that. And I'm going to bounce it back to Daniel to talk about another upcoming event.
Right, so including the circuit and extending beyond it, we have the New York City to Philadelphia ride, our second ever with the East Coast Greenway Alliance on May 14th and 15th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. This is a 125-mile ride. We had over 300 people participating last year. So we really want to get people out registering for the ride. Again, it's a fundraiser for the East Coast Greenway Alliance to accelerate the completion of these trails. So that includes the Delaware River Trail, the Delaware River Heritage Trail that are both along the East Coast Greenway. This allows us to have more capacity, to be in more meetings, to advocate for these trails, to get funding and to be completed. There's ways to also volunteer. So we have a closing ceremony on the 15th on the Delaware River in Philadelphia. Please check out those links to get involved, come out, help set up, meet some riders, get a t-shirt, get some snacks, and just join in the celebration. Thanks so much.
And as mentioned earlier, the Explore the Circuit series is planned out halfway through this year. Our first ride will be along the Kramer Hill Waterfront Park. We'll start in Philadelphia and we'll travel along there. We're also in the works of collaborating with Anya's Celebrate Trails Day, so look out for updates there. Then we'll be heading out to Chester County along the Schuylkill River Trail from Crombie to the Route 422 bridge that connects to Montgomery County. And lastly, well, not lastly, but the last chunk for the first half of the year is the Rancocas Creek Greenway Trail in Burlington County. And that'll be from Amoco Island into new connections there. I'm going to share links to registration here. Hopefully that works. Yep. And for more details and for routes, timing, dates, all that stuff, that's all listed there to see if you're able to join us. So thanks.
All right, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what openings we are expecting for the rest of 2022. So Patrick just mentioned the Rancocas Creek segment. So we're going to see this come online. It's a little over 4 miles. It's paved and it connects Amoco Island and Pennington County Parks and the Delanco Riverline Station. So that's Burlington County. And then also in Burlington County, we have a new segment of the Arnie's Mount Trail coming online. So that is 2.2 miles. It's a loop and it will connect to the Kincora Trail and the Rancocas Creek. So we always like to see those connections. So moving southward in Philadelphia, we have a bunch of segments opening up. The first one I want to talk about is part of the Delaware River Trail. This is a segment connecting from Spring Garden Street to Washington Ave. And that's what you see behind me, actually. So it's going to connect to some existing segments of this trail. So you'll have 3.4 miles of a continuous protected bike and pedestrian trail. The bike and ped infrastructure is separated out. There's lighting, as you can see, some street furniture, landscaping. So it's really beautiful and it's mostly done already. So you can check it out right now. And then also in Philadelphia, also part of the Delaware River Trail and the East Coast Greenway is a segment between Lehigh and Susquehanna. So this is under construction. It's part of the I-95 project, and it is creating an off-road biking and walking path that has lighting as well as stormwater infrastructure, and it actually goes underneath the highway. So good for biking or walking on a rainy day. And so that one is pretty far along too. So you could check that one out as well. And then also in Philadelphia is segment D of the Cobbs Creek Trail. So this is the construction of a side path along Lindbergh Boulevard, and it'll connect to the Hines Wildlife Refuge and 84th Street. And again, this is part of the East Coast Greenway as well as the Cobbs Creek Trail. And then we have one question mark, so stay tuned, but we might see the opening of the Schuylkill Crossing. So that's a bridge going over the Schuylkill, connecting two segments of the Schuylkill River Trail between Grace Ferry and Bartram's Mile. So we will be sure to keep you updated on all of these, and we hope you can join us for some ribbon cutting celebrations. You can be one of the first people to try out these trails. And you can continue to the next slide. So we would really like as many people as possible to sign up to become a circuit citizen. So you can do that at circuittrails.org/get-involved. And each county has its own action team. So if there's a county where you live or a county that you feel really strongly about where you're using those trails, you can sign up for that specific county, and then we'll be able to get in touch with you and let you know about more advocacy opportunities. So there's definitely going to be a lot this year. We're expecting pretty large funding opportunities from the federal government. So we're going to need to let decision makers know that the circuit trails is an important priority for our region and that we want to see all of the circuit completed as soon as possible. So make sure to sign up. We definitely need your help. We need to show that grassroots support. And then if there are any questions, please let us know. And we can take those now.
Like we had a shout out for the Manayunk bridge lighting, which I think is supposed to be early 2022 to be finalized, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we'll see that pretty soon. So that's definitely an important update to an existing segment. We did get a question about an in progress section in Gloucester County. Sonia, would you be able to field that one?
Potentially.
I'm not sure which segment it was, but do you have any intel in general on anything in the works in Gloucester?
Right now we are still keeping tabs on the parts of the Gloucester County trails that are on the tip. We haven't heard any updates on when those will be completed, but we are continually trying to get those updates. And then we are looking to advance a few other sections that don't yet have design and engineering in the county as well. But anyone interested in Gloucester County, we'd love to talk to you. So please join our action team and we'll be in touch.
Great, thank you. And John Boyle also added some more info in the chat about that question.
Yeah, John's covering it all in the chat right now. There was also a shout out about the Schuylkill River Trail in Chester County. There's supposed to be a ribbon cutting in the spring, but no date is announced just yet. Like there's one question about any Burlington Camden Trail news. They're excited to see the Explore the Circuit ride is coming to Merchantville on April 23rd. Anya, do you have any news on that?
Yeah, so on April 23rd, the Explore the Circuit ride is going to meet up with the Celebrate Trails Day event. So we're going to have it at Eclipse Brewing, and we're working right now to put all the details together, but we want to have a lot of fun and exciting things happening. So we'll definitely keep you updated about that. It's going to start at 12 o'clock at Eclipse Brewing. So that's in Merchantville along the existing segment. And we'll also be talking about what's going on for the adjoining segments. But we do expect there to be groundbreaking in the summer for one segment. So we are going to see some expansion in the near future on the Burlington Camden. And we also have another segment that's under design. So a lot is happening. Thank you for asking about that.
Should also note that Schuylkill Banks has a lot going on. Construction is underway on the Christian to Crescent segment. That's the gap that you hit, the sort of dead end that you hit at the end of sort of once you go south of South Street. So there is work being done there. The swing bridge, unfortunately, has been delayed quite a bit. Currently, the projected date is end of 2022. We'll hope that that actually happens. But in the meantime, there are some on-street connections being improved. There's a shared use path that was put in on Grays Ferry Avenue. There's some protected bike lanes that are going to go on Grays Avenue, as well as Grays Ferry Avenue. Parts of it, you know, you have to kind of check Philadelphia's Otis updates page, but there are some improvements coming so you can navigate more safely on the road in the meantime as you wait for those segments.
Thanks, Daniel. All right, any other questions? And if anyone does have a follow-up question, Patrick, you're making your email address available, right?
Yeah, definitely. I will share that out. We'll also be sharing this video out. So if you'd like to share this with someone who wasn't able to join today, feel free to. And yeah, we'll be here to answer any questions you may have about the network. So is there any other questions coming through?
That's it so far. John Boyle said that the Grays Avenue protected bike lane is going to be installed in the spring.
Cool.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John, for helping out. So I think with that, thank you everyone who joined us live, and thank you to my action team members for presenting on PA and New Jersey updates, as well as what's next. Yeah, and we look forward to working with you for the year ahead.
See you at Celebrate Trails Day.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bye.
Bye.